Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to a very special edition of Command Power in which we are discussing some of the first spoilers from the upcoming goofy Unfinity set. And let me tell you, this set is looking like absolute nonsense and I'm all here for it. And today we're going to very quickly go over one of the major card types from the new set, which are attractions. We're going to quickly talk about how they work and talk about some of the ones that have been spoiled so far, so hang tight. And we're starting off with Centrifuge, but first let me quickly explain what attractions are. Attractions are cards that are outside of the game, similar to contraptions, that you have a special deck for. And in Constructed, you need to have a minimum of 10 attractions in your attraction deck. And you shuffle the deck as the game begins, and whenever anything tells you to open an attraction, you just flip the top card from that deck onto the battlefield and it becomes an artifact that's in play. If it dies, it goes to a special zone. It doesn't go to the regular graveyard. It goes like to the trash heap or whatever you call the graveyard for attractions. And then at the beginning of each main step, at the same time as you would do sagas, you roll a dice, only one dice no matter how many attractions you have, and you visit the attraction if you roll the number that is lit up. For example, in Centrifuge, the numbers are 3 and 6, so that would mean that if you rolled a 3 or a 6, Centrifuge effect would happen this turn. A 1 is always a fail, and a 6 is always a success when it comes to attractions. And this is super cool. You're almost always going to get something every turn, unless you roll a 1 and you're pretty unlucky. But then again, there's a lot of ways to re-roll dice in Magic, and I'm sure there'll be some new ones in this set. I'm loving attractions. I think they're going to be awesome and I can't wait to build a deck around them. And as with all the cards in this set, some of them are eternal legal, which means you can put them in commander decks without asking anyone, and some of them you need to ask for permission first. I'm sure your playgroup will be okay if it's anything like mine, but still you should ask. So this one, Centrifuge, is one of the wackier ones. It allows you to draw a card from the library of the player to your right. Obviously that would never work in the normal rules, and you also get 3 treasure tokens, so this is quite strong. I love this one. This is super fun and I can't wait to use it. Next up we have Dart Throw. This one is on 2, 3, 4, and 6. That's pretty good. And this allows us to show another kind of attractions, ones that have prize. When that happens, it means the attraction is closed, you sacrifice it, and immediately put a new attraction from your attraction deck onto the battlefield. So this one has Visit. Throw a card you own from outside the game onto the playing area from a distance of 3 feet, about 1 meter. If that card touches Dart Throw, claim the prize. And the prize is create 2 2/2 pink teddy bear creature tokens, sacrifice Dart Throw, then open an attraction. Okay, so the prize is pretty meh, but it's pretty easy to hit here. You're getting 2 2/2 teddy bears, and all you need to do is just throw the card from a certain height and have it touch this card. That doesn't seem that difficult. And also this attraction is on 2, 3, 4, and 6. That's pretty likely to show up, so you can cycle through it pretty quickly and get a couple of 2/2s. Next up is Haunted House. So this one lets you return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of your next end step. So if you build a deck with a bunch of enter the battlefield effects or some kind of reanimated deck, this is going to be pretty solid. And this one is in fact eternal legal, so you can put it in your commander decks without asking anybody. Next up is Fortune Teller, and I think there are like 6 or 7 different versions of this card, each with different numbers and amazing flavor text. I love the flavor text on all of these. You should go read all of them if you haven't. They're so good. And the visit is Scry 1. This is just a very basic attraction, but it's going to keep happening quite often because it turns on 2, 3, or 6. That means every other turn you're going to get to Scry 1 at the beginning of your main step. That's not great by itself, but if you have multiple attractions and you're getting multiple effects, this can actually be quite good. Next up is Concession Stand. This is only active on 2 or 6, so a little bit less likely, 33% chance. It's also eternal legal, and it has Visit, create a food token. Okay. Just a nice little flavorful thing. I love the art on this. It's just a giant hamburger oozing. And the flavor text, eating here is always a concession. That's absolutely brilliant. Next up is the Superlatorium. In 2, 3, and 6, it has Visit. An opponent chooses the fastest, the scariest, or the weakest. You choose a creature, then ask a person outside the game to choose the creature that best fits the chosen criteria. If they chose the same creature you chose, claim the prize. And the prize is create 2 1/1 red balloon creature tokens with flying, then sacrifice the Superlatorium and open an attraction. So the prize is quite good. Getting a couple of flyers is pretty awesome. I love this minigame. The only thing I don't really like about it is that you have to ask somebody outside the game. That's not always going to be possible or super practical. Although I suppose sometimes you can text your friends. Still, this is a really sweet effect and I'm looking forward to convincing my playgroup to play with this. Next up is Hall of Mirrors, which is active on 2 and 6. It's got Visit, choose target creature you control. Each other creature you control becomes a copy of that creature until end of turn, except it isn't legendary if the chosen creature is legendary. Ooh, that can do some absolutely amazing things. It's legal in Commander, so you can play it no matter what. That being said, there's a lot of variants with attractions. If you could choose which attraction you put into play, that would be absolutely amazing, and there might be a card spoil that lets you do that. So far, we haven't seen any. But this can allow for some absolute brokenness and some absolutely wacky stuff by having everything become a copy of a legendary, including your commander if you want to. That is super sweet. Next up we have Gift Shop. It's active on 2, 3, and 6, and it has visit, choose one that hasn't been chosen. Create a 1/1 red balloon creature token with flying, create a 2/2 pink teddy bear creature token, create 2 food tokens, you get 3 tickets, or you may put a sticker on a non-land permanent you own. So the tickets are used to buy power and toughness and ability stickers. We haven't talked about them yet, but we'll mention it further on or in a different video. That being said, this one does have a time limit. After you've done 5 things, it's not going to do anything else, but that's probably about 10 turns, so you're probably good by then. Next up is Costume Shop. It's active on 3, 4, and 6, and it has visit. You may put a sticker on a non-land permanent you own. Now do be aware that again, for power and toughness or ability stickers, you do need to pay the cost in tickets, but for other stickers you just get to put them straight on. Might not always be super relevant, but it certainly should make your playgroup smile a little bit. Next up is Spinny Ride. It's an attraction with 2, 3, and 6, and it has tap target creature and opponent controls. Very basic one, nice if you're attacking. Otherwise, not the best, but you might include it in your deck to round out the attractions. Next up is Gallery of Legends. This one is not legal in Internal, and it's active in 5 or 6, and it has visit, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. Then choose a legendary creature card name with the same mana value as that card. Create a token that's a copy of the card with the chosen name. That token gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. I particularly love that the legendary featured in the art is Phage the Untouchable, which of course you would lose the game if you created a token of her. So that's really hilarious. Next up is Guess Your Fate. It's active on 2, 3, 4, and 6. So this is one of the easiest ones to activate we've seen so far. And it has visit, look at the bottom card of your library, then give a person outside the game a 1-word clue not on that card. They guess a word. If the guess appears in that card's name, claim the prize, and the prize is reveal the card, put it into your hand, then sacrifice it and open an attraction. So this is based on the game Codenames, which is a really sweet game. If you haven't tried that board game, give it a try. And it's going to be a really nice sub game, but again, it involves somebody outside the game. A little bit difficult sometimes to satisfy that requirement, but still, it's an awesome card, and I'm looking forward to playing with it. Next up is Drop Tower. At 4, 5, or 6, it's visit, target creature gains flying until end of turn, or until any player rolls a 1, whichever comes first. Okay, so you actively don't want to run this in a deck where you're rolling a lot of dice because it could actually screw you, but most of the time this is just going to be a nice way to give a creature flying and get in for a little bit of chip damage. Memory Test is active on 4 and 6, it's not legal in Eternal, and when it enters the battlefield, target opponent exiles card from the bottom of their library until they exile 5 non-land cards, then turns those non-land cards face down. And then for visit, you name the exiled face down cards, then look at them. If you name them correctly, turn them face up, then claim their prize. And the prize is create 3 1/1 red balloon creature tokens with flying, then sacrifice Memory Test and open an attraction. So this is a difficult one to do because it's only active 33% of the time, which means 1 out of 3 turns, which in Commander means that you could be waiting for like 9 turns before you have to guess again. By that point, you might have forgotten what card is what. Still, it seems like a really fun subgame. Next up is Roller Coaster. This one is legal in Eternal. It's active on 3 and 6, and visit, creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. Just a nice go wide payoff. Again, if you're building a deck around these, you don't really necessarily care what the ability is on most of them too much. It's just nice to have. Squirrel Stack is one of my favorite ones so far. It's active on 2, 3, and 6. It has visit. You have 5 seconds to stack dice on top of one another. If you stack at least 5 dice, claim the prize. And you create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token for each die you stacked above the 4th, then sacrifice Squirrel Stack and open an attraction. So I don't know how hard it's going to be to do this. Let me try that real quick. Okay, we're starting now. Yeah, this is really difficult. I'm having a lot of trouble. I just tried to stack some dice. It's not that easy to do. If you're really manually dexterous and somebody can help time for you, then you might be able to stack 6 or 7 dice and you can get a couple of squirrels out of this. That being said, I think it's going to be pretty difficult. Trash Bin is active on 2 and 6, it's Eternal legal, and it has mill 2 cards, then return a card at random from your graveyard to your hand. This one seems quite good to me. It's card advantage. I mean, how bad can it be? Next up is Cover the Spot. It's active on 2, 3, 4, and 6, and it has drop 3 cards you own from outside the game, 1 at a time onto the playing area from a height of at least 1 foot, about 0.3 meters, so not very high this time. If those cards completely cover the spot, claim the prize. And the prize is you get 4 tickets, then you may put a sticker on a non-land permanent you own, sacrifice cover the spot, then open an attraction. Okay, so this one's going to be quite easy, I feel, to achieve because it's not very high and you have 3 cards to completely cover it. But then again, I see myself completely missing with this. Pretty wacky card, but kind of cool nonetheless. Look forward to playing with it. And finally for today we have MerryGoRound. It's active on 2 and 6 and it has visit creatures you control with power 2 or less gain horsemanship until end of turn. And it's eternal legal. This is an eternal legal card. I love this. Giving a horsemanship to all your stuff basically means they're unblockable in most games of Commander. It's gonna be so sweet to just swing for a ton of damage when you roll a 2 or a 6 with this. Loving this card. So there you have it. That's our review of the first batch of attractions from Unfinity. What do you think about these cards? Are you looking forward to messing around with them in your Commander decks? Do you think your playgroup will allow them? Let me know in the comments below. I read every comment and respond to all of them too. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel and we're currently growing. And until next time, take care.